This is Do It For a Living, your source for inside information on the future of automotive performance.
You have to say, I'm going to fucking do something with my life and go do it. You have to be able to have some drive and some ambition and find ways of accomplishing your goals. The only answer that's a definite answer is you can't take no for an answer. You have to find a way to keep plugging and keep getting things done.
What's holding you back from starting or growing your business into what it can be? Well, if you're listening to this, it's not a lack of information. What you're about to hear is all you need to get motivated and start making waves. Do It For a Living podcast details the journey of today's true players in their own words. Find out how they broke out so you can too. The time is now. The time is always now. Cool. So I got Jason Slater and Nate Silveri here from TPG Tuning. Boys, how's it going?
What's up?
It's amazing.
So I'd like to dive right into it. I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your business. How did you guys get started, and what's your background? Take us all the way back to when you were a kid, after first telling us a little bit about your business.
Jeez. Okay. Well, I'm Nate, and I met Jay probably four or 5 years ago.
Yeah, about 5 years.
We started out with two separate shops. So Jay had a small shop with a dyno. I had a small shop without one. And we both kind of worked on the same cars, sort of. We just started working together on some things, and that kind of grew into the relationship we have now. My lease was up, his lease was up. We both needed more space, and we kind of found some place together and decided to make it our thing.
One of the big things that helped our relationship kind of spawn into what it is now is I had absolutely no interest in working on Subarus back in the day. All I was really focusing on was the Mitsubishi stuff with the DSMs and the Evos, and there was such a high demand for it. Nate was a well-known Subaru tuner, and it eventually came down to I needed to kind of sublet some of the work that I was doing and have him come in and tune, and it kind of just turned into a relationship from there.
And at that time, we both had full-time jobs at some point before that, so that was around that time we also made the decision to kind of quit that and do it full-time and take a chance on it.
So talk about that. You guys both had full-time jobs and you were tuning cars on the side?
Yeah, and we worked a lot, and our girlfriends that are somehow now our wives still with us. I taught at Wyotech, which is like a technical school. So I had a full-time job there, and I was either there like 7 to 4 during the day or 4:30 to 1:30 at night, and the other rest of the day, what was ever left, was spent doing our thing. So
I actually used to work at a law firm doing some paralegal work for a professor of mine from college, and then I would do this at nights till God knows when, and then get up in the morning, go do that, leave, and go back to work.
It sucked, and we kind of knew at that time, we knew what we wanted to do. It's just we didn't want to take the risk of doing it full time because we had a steady paycheck somewhere else. So
right.
Yeah, you guys were doing just fine in your other jobs.
Yeah,
but it just wasn't satisfying enough?
No, I mean, that's obviously what we wanted to do. We wanted to progress towards that point of being full-time. Like everybody, I think most people want to own their own business and most people want to work for themselves. But, taking that risk to collecting a paycheck every 2 weeks that's always there, it's always the same number, that's a big step. So it took us a while to feel comfortable doing that, Especially in our line of work, it's tough to there's nothing consistent. Like, tomorrow we might have nobody call the shop. We might have no cars show up and nothing might break. I don't know. It's no way to make sure that it's continually going to be there.
It's really hard to, I think the other scary part is it's hard to realize that you're never going to quite peak in your business if you don't give it your full attention. If you don't dedicate and devote yourself 100% to something, then you're not going to get the results you expect out of it. So I think at that point we got lucky that we were both fairly young and we could take on the endeavor that if we, things failed for us, we could still find a way to recuperate at that time, because we just had girlfriends. We didn't have wives. We didn't have houses. But it's definitely a scary thing to take on, later in life. So I think we just fell into it at the right time.
So was there one moment that finally pushed you over the edge to start your own shop?
Oh boy.
For me, there was, I was working on wills and estates with the attorney that I was working for, and things were just kind of unorganized and weren't really following following pace, with what they should have been, and came down to getting yelled at because numbers were wrong when reality was I didn't have the information I needed, and I just said, fuck it, I quit, and decided to put everything into the shop.
Nice. So that's a tough thing. How was the first year?
It fucking sucked.
Is it
unbelievably brutal?
It was the first year we were together. Like we had no idea how to run a business. We weren't organized. We were the only 2 employees, so we had some guys helping like stuff on the side, but nothing really, official. It's every month it sucked to pay bills and make sure everything was taken care of, and pay ourselves and somehow pay the utilities and keep the lights on and not fuck anything up.
One of the biggest things I think was hard too was trying to understand each other, trying to, we both came from running our own businesses and doing things our own way to, merging as one. You kind of have to find ways to agree on everything. There's really no median.
Yeah, and even like paying yourself, when you're really small, you can, take what's ever left over at the end of the month, and that's what you pay yourself, or however you work it out. Now we had to have something a little more official, and at the end of the week when it was somebody's turn to get paid and there was less money in the bank account than what we were supposed to get paid, how the fuck do you do that? So it sucked, and there was, I don't think there was ever a time that we thought, fuck it, I quit, but there was definitely times where, we were rethinking our choices.
Oh yeah. I mean, we both went through some tough times with, like the hardest parts when you're at that point, you have your own responsibilities at the shop, but then you also have your responsibilities at home. And it comes down to, do you pay your own water bill or do you pay the shop water bill? Do you pay your own electric bill or do you pay the shop electric bill? So it's a really tough decision. And not only that, it puts an absolute ton of stress on a relationship that you have with, the ladies that we were with. And luckily we're fortunate enough to call them our wives now. But it definitely puts stress on your entire life, not just your work.
So how do you deal with that stress? Because I think that's something that a lot of people deal with in starting a shop, or that's their fear of when they think about trying to jump out on their own and do it. That's the fear, and that's the narrative in their head that they have saying, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it. I'm not willing to take that risk. So you guys have taken that risk. Now you're in it. It sucks. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Right? So is the narrative in your head, should I quit or not? Or is it just, yeah, this sucks, but I'm going to figure it out? Like,
I think it was a little bit of both. But, for us, I think the points in time where we were the most motivated to go out and kick ass were the times where we didn't have any money. And, so we needed to make something work. So, okay, well, what can we do to get more business? What can we do to advertise online? What we can do to sell shit that we don't need to make money? And I think those points is where we, instead of like growing apart, we came together more and found a way to make it work.
Right. And your business is primarily service oriented.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we do a ton of dyno tuning. We do a ton of parts sales for the cars we have in the shop. We don't do necessarily a whole lot of online sales, or we don't ship a whole lot of stuff. So, the shop and what we install and work on and do is definitely the where we make most of our our business.
That was the biggest things that changed for me when we merged the shops together. Is I didn't do any parts sales. I just did strictly install work and dyno tuning. So all the parts were provided by the customer. So when you get into that, it's awesome because you make money doing nothing, but at the same time you take on a lot more responsibility in terms of getting everything done, making sure everything's there, making sure everything fits. So when we merged together, it was a huge undertaking that I hadn't dealt with before. It was a lot to try and figure out, who are your wholesalers going to be? How do you get set up with that stuff? So
you guys came from competing shops, and now you're partners and you're working together. Was that a difficult thing from competing shops and now partners? How did that transition?
It's kind of weird. I mean, we didn't like each other at first, and it was mainly because we didn't know each other. And I think that's a big problem with like the whole industry, Facebook, online, anything, is that, you end up not liking people for what everybody else says or what you read about somewhere instead of actually knowing who that person is.
It's just a bunch of high school bullshit drama. But when you decide to put your big boy pants on and actually go talk to somebody, you can understand that, all right, they're just like me. You know, everybody has their own issues to deal with, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. And probably 99% of what you hear about people is just a total fucking lie.
Yeah. So we talked about the transition from your own individual shop to TPG Tuning. But did you guys always consider yourself entrepreneurs? Like, do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur or a tuner, or what title would you give?
Oh, God. We were just car guys, man. Like to fucking go out and race and blow shit up. And, you know, that evolved into what we do. I mean, I think we both have a passion for doing that. I think both of our hearts kind of lie with drag racing. And that's kind of like where it started and, you know, where we continue to be. But, you know, I don't know that I consider ourselves, you know, the model small business owner or anything like that. You know, we definitely do what we can. And we've learned so much over the past couple of years as far as, you know, what it takes to run a business. But, you know, I guess we could have probably prepared ourselves better than that. Like, you know, went to school for that or something. I don't know.
So you're learning by doing.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of people like us, I mean, a lot of car guys in general, mechanics, whatever, you know, that's what they do best. You know, we work with our hands and we're hands-on more than reading about it in a book somewhere.
Right. I don't think I've ever done or learned anything in this business by going on the internet and reading about it. It's always take it apart and figure out how the hell to put it back together.
Right. So what roles do you guys have in the business now? Who's the tuner? Who's the engine builder? Who's the installer of the engine?
You have to be a master of all trades.
we both do a lot of tuning. The separate, I mean, depending on the type of car, the model car. I mean,
so one of you guys is an Evo guy. One of you guys
Jay's
is
an Evo guy. I'm a Subaru guy. Jay does a lot of the Mazda stuff. I do the other Nissan stuff. You know, kind of split it up as much as we can. We have a ton of cars on the dyno. Sometimes we have, you know, 2-3 cars on a day, and, you know, it makes it so much easier on both of us to split that up. So whenever one guy's on the dyno making noise, the other one's in here answering phones and just making the business run.
Right. So one question that I constantly get from listeners is, where does the money come from? So how do you deal with the money to start the shop? Like, you have so much faith in what you're going to create that you're willing to just go into debt and put it all on the line?
I think most of this was fortunate enough. Whenever I started my own place, I had a little bit of money saved up, nothing crazy. By no means did I come from a well-off family or anything like that. Just had a little bit in the bank and put it all on the line to get a dyno. And I think Nate's was the same way.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything. I mean, I remember signing the lease for the first building that I rented. I think it was like $600 a month. And I remember signing it for a couple of years and thinking, how the fuck am I going to pay the first month lease? I don't have $600 to pay that. How the fuck am I going to do this for 3 years? You know, but, you know, I guess if I didn't do that, I wouldn't fucking be here. So, you know, you have to at some point take a measurable risk, maybe not something too crazy, but, you know, had to at least try.
I did.
So you didn't have a safety net?
No, there was nothing. We scraped the bottom of the bank account.
There's no savings account or trust fund or anything cool like that. We just, you know, we just did it. And sometimes you know, if we didn't have the money, we sold shit we had so we could pay the bills until we did better.
We sold cars. We sold our, you know, random parts that we had laying around, whatever it took to. I mean, the first year we were in business, we both had, you know, toy cars basically, and we both sold them just to keep the lights on, keep the doors open, make the dyno payment. I mean, we literally scraped the bottom of the bank account to keep the dyno here, and that, I think that was probably one of the most rewarding things that we've ever done. I know me personally, but I think Nate as well, was the day we wrote our last check to Mustang Dyno.
Right. Pay that off. That feels pretty good.
Yeah.
How do you spread the word about your business? So when you guys were getting started and you're having to make sales and spread the word, is it just at the track, on the forums, all of the above? What's been the most effective method for spreading the word about TPG Tuning?
Definitely tough, because I think like forums for the most part are very counterproductive, where everybody has an opinion, everybody's an expert. So it's very hard being a new company, a new business, to try and establish any type of relationship with the community that you're trying to find. I think the best thing that you can do is just get on, you know, social media is absolute king right now. You have to have, you know, a good social media account. And I mean, back in the day, we used to just go to car shows. We used to go to anything we could and just pass out flyers, business cards, whatever it took to try and get people's attention.
Yeah. Building a fast car always helps. I mean, you see a lot of shops have a shop car of some kind with their name all over it. And, people see, I don't know, a fast Evo, fast Subaru, GTR, whatever, and they associate that with a shop, and that's a really good way to get your name out there, especially if your target market is those people that race, those people that street race or drag race, whatever. If you build something that does that really well, you can get a lot of attention that way.
That's something we've definitely been fortunate enough to do. We have a couple good guys that we've been lucky enough to sponsor and kind of help us supplement instead of just having to buy a car and put all the money into it at first. We have guys like Brad Gary and JT Conway and Dave Alviso that we've helped out, in any ways we can with tuning, with parts installs, with, some free parts here and there, and then they return the favor by
kicking ass and going fast with our name on it.
Damn right.
So you found that sponsorship is something that works well for you?
It works for us, man. There's some fast cars out there with our stickers on, and I can't think of a better way to get your name out there than that. With all the videos on YouTube and that's shared on Facebook every day, if you have a car that's there, you get millions of people seeing that, and that's directly to your target market. It's not just a radio ad or a TV commercial or something like that. That's going to the people that want to see it.
Right.
Do you think it's because the stickers on the car, or because they come up to the driver or that team after the race and in the pits, and they get your recommendation?
Yeah. I love talking to people at the racetrack. I love when people come up and ask you questions. We're a pretty personable group of guys, so that's definitely cool when people come up to you like that, and we're more than willing to help somebody out at the track or give them any kind of advice that they need, or do anything we can to help somebody go fast.
Definitely seeing the car helps, and then it's kind of a whole process. They see the car, they see it go fast, they see the stickers on it, they come to you, they talk to you, you build a relationship, whatever that may be, with that person in general, and then hope that you made a good enough impression on them that they come back and want to spend money with you.
So you guys have a lot of different projects that you're doing. Can you tell us about one thing that you're doing right now that has you fired up?
Fuck yeah, we can.
Do it.
We try to get the kind of spread our market a little bit, and recently we got into a lot of BMW stuff. Jay's been a BMW guy for a while. I never drove one before, and it was one market that we wanted to try to get into. And one of the things we found out that to step into something new like that, the best way to do it is go out and buy one and break it, and fuck it up, and destroy it, and find out what works and what doesn't. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We picked up a BMW M4 at the end of last year, which is a little late into that game, sort of for the car, but we got it back here. We immediately started making parts. We immediately started drag racing it. We went to the track. We broke both rear axles. We fucked the car all up. We went pretty fast with it. We were world's fastest M4 for a while, in close to stock form anyway. That's kind of a progressing project that we've been getting into, and that's helped us out as a business too, is to expand, and we've been doing a lot more BMW work because of that.
Okay, so not just M4 specific, but what are you doing with the M4?
Yeah, exactly. We wanted something that was cool, loud, fast, that got attention, and that would eventually trickle down into giving us business in other areas. So on top of doing that, the other M3s, we've done M4 or M5, M6s, the older 3 Series, N54, N55 turbo cars and all that. So,
what products and services are you offering for the M4 that you've been able to find out about by buying?
Well, that's a tough one. We've tried to make some of our own parts, and that's been we haven't been much of a manufacturer of any kind. So that was a big step for us, and it fucking sucks.
It's one of the worst things I think we've ever embarked on, is
trying to manufacture your own product.
It is one of the most difficult things in the world. People don't understand that when you look at the cost of something, they just look at it as, oh my God, it's so expensive. They don't realize the little things here and there, that this little flex section in a pipe, or this flange, or this boost control, or this turbo, it costs thousands of dollars to get that part, and it just continually adds cost to it. So the hardest thing to do is produce a product that you can keep at a reasonable price, still make money off of it, and build a quality product.
And it got to the point where we started making some parts, and it's like, not how do we make money, how do we not lose money and sell this stuff, right, and make it help the business out at the same time. So No, but it's definitely been a learning experience for us. And like I said, it's just like starting this thing in the first place. I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't stop where we're at. It's just, we've learned a lot over the past couple months from doing it.
So manufacturing has been a big hurdle.
Yeah. And I guess I would assume everybody starts out that way. Nobody's going to start out with all the tools and equipment to do it and all the knowledge to do it too. So we've just been kind of learning, and hopefully it just gets better from here.
No doubt. I'm sure that it will. You guys will figure it out. That's what we
do. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. So how much time, going back to the social media thing and promoting the business, how much time in a day would you say that you spend on forums or on Facebook, and how do you make sure that you're spending time effectively and not just browsing through and wasting your time?
All of it. Too much time on social media.
It's crazy how much business we get from Facebook, even just Facebook. I mean, from messages to posts to our Facebook page to our personal pages, and you kind of got to make that decision at some point. If somebody messages you, sends you a message on Facebook at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. where you're laying in bed with your wife or something, do you pick up the phone and answer it? Do you help that person out? I find myself doing that way too much. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but something like that keeps you always connected. So anybody in the world is a message away on Facebook, and a lot of people expect you to get right back to them, whether it's the case or not. But
the world's definitely become less formal. I mean, people really don't want to call. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to come in and speak to your face. They like the fact that they can just send you a message and kind of have it not necessarily anonymous, but in a way, anonymous. They have more time to think about a question before they ask it. So it's very important, when it comes to social media, that we stay on top of it. Plus, every day your reputation is challenged, on social media. It could be anything from, something good where, you tune a car and a guy's ecstatic about it and he posts about it and everybody loves it, but then there's going to be that one guy that says, oh, TPG, they suck. They blew my buddy's car up. My
cousin's brother's uncle, he said they fucking suck.
Whoever the hell they think, they are, but you have to find that fine line between staying professional and defending yourself at the same time, because you have to stay professional with a lot of people, but I think at another aspect you have to stand up for yourself, and I think people will respect you more for standing up for yourself sometimes comparatively to just bending over backwards and saying, okay, you're right, sorry. Right.
So you guys spent a little bit of time on Facebook, a lot of time, even 11 p.m., huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the world we live in. If you look at it, our target market, I mean, that's the primary form of communication. So
plus the age group that we fall into, most of the customers that we have are between 18 and 35, and you get a little bit younger of a crowd that stays up later at night, or they're watching a movie at night, they see something, and they just say, oh, I'm going to message these guys. That definitely makes it tough at home life too, because how do you leave work at work? You really don't when you own your own business. You have to be available all the time.
That's probably the biggest thing you give up when you start a business. I mean, we both had jobs at some point where we went to work at a certain time, we left at a certain time, and outside of those hours, you didn't give a fuck about work. So when you go to something like this, it's more than a full-time job. It's an all-time job. So separating that from
right, it becomes who you are.
Exactly.
So when did you guys decide to take on employees, and can you talk about that? How's that go?
That was another big one, man. I mean, we worked by ourselves, just the two of us, for a long time before we hired somebody, and that was probably one of the biggest business decisions we made, because not only we needed the help, we wanted to expand, we needed employees. That wasn't the question. It was, can we have enough work to employ a human being? And now we have somebody else that's relying on us to go home and pay rent, pay child support, or pay for bills or whatever, so you take that on, you take that responsibility on.
Also, it's like at first you think of it as, all right, well, I'm taking a pay cut basically. If I'm hiring somebody else to do something, I'm paying them to do it. Now, is that going to mean that I necessarily make that much more money doing it, or am I just basically fishing money out of my pocket? So I think that was one of the hardest decisions we had to make. And on top of that, it's finding the right people. It's so hard these days to find somebody that you can trust to do some of the stuff that we do on cars, and you expect them to perform at an incredibly high standard all the time. And it is definitely one of the most challenging processes I think that we've been through as a company.
Has the decision to hire employees panned out?
Absolutely. Well, it did at first, but it did now. We're talking about this earlier. I mean, one of the problems that we had, or one of the maybe bad decisions, I don't know if you want to call it that, is, a couple of the first people that worked for us started out as our friends, and that's not exactly the best way to do it, and we kind of found that out.
That's the worst fucking way to do it.
Yeah, don't fucking do that. Don't hire friends. I wouldn't consider, like, everybody that works with us now, I definitely consider them friends. I consider them family, but it didn't start that way. Right. And you shouldn't hire somebody just because they're a friend or just because they want to help out or they need a job.
You have to have that separation between, whether you're a boss or you're an employee, but you also, when you hire a friend, you're expected to be a friend all the time. When you hire, an employee and you become, a friend, they at least understand at that point that, all right, this is my boss, this is my fucking job. I need to take care of that first before I worry about cracking a joke or, getting a beer later with you guys. So that was probably one of the worst things I think we did, was hire friends as employees. And things didn't pan out and we moved on from it, but that's just a learning experience that we had to take on at that point. And, things definitely worked out for the better for us. Yeah, I mean, we're at the point now where, the guys we have working for us are fucking awesome. And, they're good at what they do. We can Don't let
trust
them hear that.
Yeah, I'll say that. But they're really good. And, we trust them. I mean, this is our life. This is how, we pay for everything. It's how we support our family. So we trust them with that, and that says a lot. And, they've been killing it lately. And, we haven't been, up to this point, we've never been more successful than we are today. So it's only been getting better, which is awesome.
So there's no roadmap for building a performance shop as a business.
No.
Right? We just learn as you're going. And you guys have had to learn a lot of things and overcome a lot of hurdles.
Yeah,
Can you explain the worst experience that you've had in business and how you were able to overcome it? Take us to a point that really was tough. Do you have a specific example like that?
Maybe.
Is there any moment that sticks in your mind as the worst experience?
God. Yeah, I mean, pretty much that. I mean, when we had to either make a decision or let the decision make itself on whether or not to let somebody go. I mean, that's, as a business owner, as an employee of any kind, to fire somebody is a shitty decision, especially when they started out as your friend.
A lot of the guys that we had at that time, they were guys we knew back in high school. They were guys we knew for 10, 15 years. So I think that was one of the worst things that we've had to do, is determine, all right, it's not working out, and this isn't anything personal, but we have to cut you loose. We have to let you go. Or, in one aspect, they kind of decided that for themselves, and it left us in a terrible position. We went from a 4 or 5 man team to me and Nate, and that was it. So, when they decided to act kind of recklessly in that point, that was definitely one of the worst things we've had to fucking deal with. And it definitely left a bitter, sour taste in our mouth that luckily we just picked right up and moved on from. We didn't really have to dwell on it too long.
Yeah, I mean, we eventually found the right people that we needed, and that if it wouldn't have happened that way, we would have never had the guys working here that we do now. So
one of the benefits of that is we had a quality reputation in this area with tons of other businesses, surrounding us. Even out of state, we have great reputation with a lot of the companies in this industry, and even random things like car dealers and anybody around here pretty much knows who we are. So it came down to, hey, do you know anybody that might be looking for a job? And we were fortunate enough that people would just
show up,
call in all the time, call and email and stop in, drop resumes off. So once we put up that we were hiring, we were just flooded with.
Yeah, it's that's a badass feeling when you have, a couple people a day stopping in and dropping off a resume, because basically somebody's saying, like, you guys are fucking cool and I want to work for you. Right. Like that, I don't know, that makes you feel awesome, man. I don't know, that's cool.
That's really cool. So you guys put it out there on social media? That's where you said?
Yeah, in fact, I think I think the couple guys we've hired recently, that's how they heard about us. Initially, they said, basically we made a post on our Facebook page, say, we're hiring. We need people with this kind of qualifications, and they showed up.
And that's where you've been able to find employees that way.
Yeah.
Right on.
You know, like I said before, you know, a lot of things are informal these days, and I think if a lot of people need to realize that you cannot call a place, you cannot email a place with a resume and expect them to give two shits about it. You know, there's 100 other people doing that. Get off your ass, go see your employer, go talk to whoever is in charge there, and introduce yourself. Shake a hand, give a resume. Just say, hey, this is me. Let them know who you are and what you need. Where too many people now just try and send an email, send a text, send a call. You know, like you have to be willing to get out there, put yourself out there if you want to recoup anything, if you want to gain anything out of, you know, your current situation. So all the guys that work for us right now were guys that came to us and said, hey, I'd like to work here. There's not a single person, there's not going to be anybody that we hire that's going to send us an email and say, hey, you know, will you work for us? Fuck no. Like, get off your ass, come see us, and then we'll talk.
Right, because it shows what kind of person you are if you're a go-getter.
Right. We don't want somebody that's just going to be lazy and you know, it's definitely been that way. I think with my dad, with your dad, they're the kind of guys that will, you shake a hand when you leave a room, you shake a hand when you meet somebody, you know, you open a door for somebody, kind of the classic old school way of doing things. So,
and the same aspect of that, there's guys that come in to drop a resume off and they walk out the door, me and Jay, that look at each other and say, we would never hire somebody like that.
Or they don't even say anything. They'll just walk in, hand a resume, and leave. It's like, what? Like, I appreciate the effort coming in, but, you know, like, introduce yourself. Tell us what your name is. What are some of your talents, some of your things that you're good at. Don't just throw a piece of paper at me and walk away and expect me to give you a call.
So that's great advice. And for everybody that's listening that would like to work in a shop, take that to heart. Rewind it and listen to that again.
Go out to a shop you want to work at. Say, I will do fucking anything to work here. I'll sweep the floors. I'll strap cars on the dyno. I don't give a shit. Maybe you probably shouldn't swear at them, but I mean that's the kind of people we're looking for. I mean, motivated people are awesome. If I had somebody come in here who was that motivated to want to work here, we would probably find a way to employ them. You know, I mean, you don't find that too often.
You can mold and shape anybody into anything. So if you have the drive, if you have the confidence in what you're trying to do, with the right guidance, you could be anybody.
Yeah, the guys.
Right. They say hire the smile and teach the
exactly. You know, we have guys working here that didn't work on Subarus or Mitsubishis or GTRs or anything before here, and they're doing just fine. You know, you don't have to have experience with that specific thing. You don't have to be a member of the 4 forums out there that guys are on. You know, you don't have to have that knowledge. You know, there's a lot of other qualities that we look for than just that.
So what are you guys' Achilles heels? What are you not good at doing? Can you identify something that maybe you're not good at?
Personally, for me, I don't have patience. I think that's one of my worst things is I don't have the patience that I need to have. And that's one of the reasons why our relationship with me and Nate balances out so well, because there's times when I just get very frustrated with a situation, with a job, with a person, you know, a customer, and I just want to lose my goddamn mind about it. And Nate has the ability to kind of calm me down, calm the situation down, and address it, handle it professionally, and move on from it. So I think that's definitely something I have to work on. I don't have the patience to deal with somebody that I just spend an hour telling them what they need and the parts they need, giving them an estimate, and having them run to another shop or come to us anyway and bring us the wrong parts and then wonder why their car runs like shit.
So patience is yours.
Yeah. I don't. I have a really bad problem of not saying no. So, like, if somebody wants something done, whatever it would be, you know, I think I try to help people out or try to be somebody's friend more than I should. I don't know what the fuck to call it, but, you know, Jay's definitely that counterpoint that, you know, no, we're not going to fucking do that. No, we're not going to, you know, install that used piece of shit part on somebody's car just because, you know, they were nice and they wanted us to. So that's my biggest thing is instead of, you know, being upfront with somebody and telling them, no, we can't do this for whatever reason, or I'm sorry, we can't help you out with that. You know, I try to be accommodating, and there's times in the past where I've done that and it's fucked us. So, you know,
there's also times like a current situation we had recently where, you know, I basically wanted to tell the guy to just go pound salt, but, you know, Nate took it upon himself and talked to the guy, and, you know, it ended up, the whole situation worked out great for everybody. So that was definitely a tough thing that we had to deal with at that point. But it really, having us work the way we do with each other, you know, we've been fortunate enough to have like the friendship that we have, and you know, we're pretty much family. I mean, we spend more time with each other than we do our wives, so we kind of know what each other's thinking. We know what's happening in each other's mind. So it definitely helps when it comes to a bad situation. But there is times where, you know, you have to accept the fact that you're not going to make everybody happy, and it may not be worth taking on that endeavor. You have to tell them no. You have to say, all right, this is, you know, you can't bring us used parts. We can't put some eBay piece of crap on your car. You know, you have to do it the right way if you expect a good result out of it.
It's cool that you guys have complementary skill sets.
Yeah, thankfully it worked out that way, huh?
Right. So you guys delegate well? Do you try and do everything yourselves?
We can. I mean, recently, now that we have the ability, at least like the financial standpoint, we can hire some other people to do the things we can't. That helps out a lot. I think at the beginning, we tried to do everything because I wouldn't say we're greedy, but, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of money, so we wanted it all to go to us. So we didn't want to hire other people and pay other people to do taxes, to start a website, to answer the phones, to work on cars. We wanted to do all ourselves. And, you know, obviously as you get bigger, you know, everybody knows that, you know, you should hire other people to do the things you're not good at.
Spend money to make money.
And thankfully it's worked out that way. So we have guys that work on the website that are awesome. We have guys that help around answering the phones, and they're working on cars that can do the things we can. You know, you learn you're only one person. There's only so many hours in the day, and you can definitely benefit from having other good people to help you out with that.
I think to try and consider and do everything yourself at all points is just, it's a naive thought to even think that. And I would say that most companies, you know, we see shops pop up around the area all the time. There's a new garage every month, and they fail. And, you know, the reason may not necessarily be that they do bad work or anything like that. It's that they physically can't do everything themselves. They try to take on too much. They bite off more than they can chew, and you have to find a way to supplement some of your work. You have to build those relationships that we were talking about, networking with, and extend a hand to another shop, because you never know when, you know, you might be in a tough situation, you might need a hand, and, you know, somebody else might say, hey, let me help you out real quick.
You guys seem to do a really good job of reaching out to other people and making connections. I mean, you guys were competing shops, and now you're partners. I think that says a lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, there's so many other people in the industry that we're now really close friends with, and we talk to on a daily basis, and it is just awesome that, you know, maybe the people that you didn't think liked you, or you didn't think that would be your friend, or maybe they were competition, and you have to finally meet them. They're you know, somebody that you bounce ideas off every day. You know, and that's really a big thing. That's what
I can't stand. Some of the stuff on social media, it eats me alive, because you'll see a local shop or a competitive shop maybe across the country, you know, that's doing the same thing, and people will always say this or say that or talk shit and say, well, this is the best tuner in the world, or this is the best shop in the world. But they don't understand that times have changed and things have evolved to the point where we're very good friends with, you know, most of the companies that you're talking about. You know, they're not just names, and it's not just a shop. We've sat down with these people. We've had phone calls with these people. We've gone to dinner. We've had beers with these people. We've stayed at their houses. You know, so there's a definite changing of tides, I guess I could say, from the way things were when we both first started getting into the business till now, where you may say something bad about us, or you may say something bad about another shop, but the truth is we're all friends. You know, we may be in competition with each other, but I don't think there's anybody that I've met in this business that wouldn't help somebody else out if it came down to it or they needed it.
It's different for people looking at it from the outside in, where they see two shops that, like you said, are competing, but on the real level, you're just friends. Right. Like, the relationships exist that, you know, you don't, maybe you're not publicly putting it out there, but people don't know that.
Yeah, or you'd be at the racetrack, somebody, you know, and you'd be racing, so we'll be in competition with somebody else, and that same person you're going to go out and have a beer with after and hang out with. You know, it might, from the outside, you guys fucking hate each other, and you're screaming at each other in the staging lanes, you're bitching, whatever, but I mean, that's what it is, and then at the end of the day, everybody's friends.
Having those friendships and being able to take a car, you know, we're taking 4-cylinder cars with 2,000cc injectors and making them run great on pump gas. You know, that wasn't something you could do years ago, and now with all the work and time that people have put in and the testing and the saying, hey, you know, like, do you have an idea of what might be the right scaling or the right latencies for this value or this or that or the other thing, and talking with another tuner, talking with another company and bouncing those ideas back and forth, we've found stuff that works and that, you know, that can produce a better product in the end result.
Well, it wasn't just one guy that made that happen, and maybe people see that sometimes if somebody makes a post about some whatever, there's a lot more that goes behind that than just one person.
That's a perfect segue into my next question, and that's if you can suggest one action item for our listeners that they can do this week to improve their situation.
You know what? I mean, that's one of the biggest things that we found out is that, on social media, on whatever you find on Facebook, whatever, is people get the wrong impression of somebody without actually fucking meeting them. So go out and talk to someone. Go out the shop that you don't like, that you don't care about, somebody that you think that hates you for whatever reason. Go there, talk to them, meet somebody in person. That's a huge hurdle for a lot of people because they see somebody post something on Facebook, or they see somebody talk shit about them, or somebody's buddy doesn't like you for whatever reason, whatever. And most of that comes down to they don't fucking know you. They never met you.
They've never spent money with you. They've never done business with you. They have absolutely no idea who you are. So I think it's a very important thing people need to learn is you have to network, and you have to go out there and meet those people. You can judge whoever you want, but until you know who they are, until you talk with them face to face, you're kind of in a crapshoot. You may be missing out on a really good friendship, a relationship, or a very good business or company that you're not sure about, all because somebody posted something on Facebook and it got 100 likes.
So that's great advice, to reach out to people that you're otherwise hesitant to reach out to.
Absolutely.
I agree with that 110%. What's your guys' big, hairy, audacious goal? What's the dream for TPG Tuning? 10 years from now, if you got everything that you wanted and everything worked out, what would it look like?
I'd like to see us reach the point where we can, not necessarily that it's going to happen, but I'd like to see us reach to the point where, we're comfortable enough that we can take a day off from the shop and we can leave it in our employees' hands, basically, I just want us to have like a comfortable life where we can just say, hey, you want to go on vacation next week? Fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's grab our wives, let's go on vacation and go somewhere. It's not that you can't do it now. It's that we're stretched way too thin and we're trying way too hard to be bigger and better than we've ever been.
And it's never something you want to walk away from. Like, I mean, you could, and that'll never happen. You could open a McDonald's and get it running and then just leave and sit on a beach somewhere drinking Mai Tais. That'd be awesome, but that's not for us. We're always going to be a part of it. It's always going to be us. And, if you call the shop phone, you can always ask for one of us and we're going to fucking be here, so.
We went to the bank the other day and somebody said, so what's your plans for, retirement? And I think we both looked at each other and I looked at the teller, and guys like us don't retire. There's no retirement. I don't think there is an end goal for, what we're trying to do. It's just make the best of everything that we can and try and build as big of a empire, I guess you could say, as we are capable of.
Fair enough. So just keep showing up for work and just keep getting it done.
Man. Just busting ass every day, I mean, everybody, you always get that question, like, how did you get where you are? Definitely not sitting on the fucking couch eating potato chips, I mean, you get up in the morning, you bust your ass all day and make it happen.
There's no specific answer. There's no, well, you go to this school, well, you go to this class, well, you go here. It's just you have to say I'm gonna fucking do something with my life and go do it. You have to be able to have some drive and some ambition and find ways of accomplishing your goals. The only answer that's a definite answer is you can't take no for an answer. You have to find a way to keep plugging and keep getting things done.
If you bust your ass every day working on whatever you work on, whatever industry, it doesn't have to be automotive industry, anything. You're not going to not succeed. You can't. It's impossible.
Right.
I like it. No video games, more work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump into quick answer questions, and I'm just going to fire these off at you. Tell us about a game-changing product that you've seen in the last year.
Oh, boy. That's a tough one. And there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, the biggest thing that affects us, we work with a lot of manufacturers for, tuning. And Cobb has stepped up to the plate in the last, they've always been awesome, but the last year or two, they've really been coming out with some badass products, and the software has evolved to let us do what we want to do. And Injector Dynamics is another one that makes some kick-ass products. It just makes our lives easier, and that's the stuff we like. When we have the right products to make the car run better, idle better, start better, make more power, whatever it may be, that's what we love. So
definitely been the injectors. I think for me, it's awesome to be able to take a car have it make more power and make it run the way it should, as compared to back in the day. There was always a give and take. You know, if you wanted X amount of power, well, you lose X amount of drivability or start quality or idle or anything like that. The involvement in the fuel injector lately has just been awesome to see, and it makes our life easier, and it makes the end product for the customer a lot better.
And the consistency is good. I mean, we can send a customer parts, send them a base map to flash the car with, and the car starts, runs, idles perfect, and drives here, and there's no issues. You didn't always have that, and we forget, maybe some people weren't around, 5, 10 years ago, whatever, in this industry, but there was a lot of shit out there, and a lot of stuff didn't work. And, you had a really big injector that, had a huge latency the injector dead time was 1.5 milliseconds or whatever, and it didn't fucking open at idle, and you had to idle the car at 10 to 1 to make it work. I think a lot of guys take for granted how easy it is today because of companies like that.
Nice. What software program are you guys using daily?
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean, like
Tuning
QuickBooks.
software. QuickBooks. There you go. Just what software program do you find yourself in all the time?
My biggest thing that I use is with ECU Flash and EVA scan, because I do a ton of the stock ECU stuff with the EVAs, and you definitely do a shit.
Yeah, Cobb software is awesome, and we use that stuff all the time. So that's, if you looked at whatever the thing is by the start bar and the program you open the most, it'd definitely be Cobb Tuning something.
Fair enough. Now I'm going to get an even weirder one. Do you have a favorite app that you use daily?
Now we do. We just got this fucking security camera set up at the shop where you can watch everything. That is the best fucking investment you can make. Not only for security reasons, I don't want to be that guy that likes always watching what guys are doing in the shop and everything like that, but gives you a lot of peace of mind. When you're not here, whether you have a customer car dropped off or you have stuff sitting outside or whatever. But that's awesome. And, security is really important. We didn't have that, not too long ago. So to protect your shit here, that worked out really well. So I check that all the time. It's pretty badass.
Nice. And what's the name of the app?
Oh God. I don't know. It's whatever security. Hold on. Whatever.
Flying
my
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds? My XMI, whatever the fuck that means. But
fair enough.
That's it.
What's your guys' favorite shop tool?
Claw hammer.
Wooden stick.
Dude, it's probably a laptop. I mean, as shitty as that may sound, or as a stupid answer that may be, I mean, that's what we make our money with, and that's what we use the most. We just bought 2 new Tough Books that are fucking awesome. You can bounce it off a car, you can leave it on the roof of a car, and it falls off driving down the road, and you pick it up and it still works. But
we were going through 2-3 laptops a year, a piece, and it was getting ridiculous.
Yeah. If you tune cars and you use a laptop a lot, spend a couple bucks, get a good one. It makes your life a whole lot easier. At least something with a battery too, so you don't have to stay plugged into something all the time.
Nice. So the Tough Book's living up to its name.
Badass. It's the best laptop I had so far. So
it has a fucking handle too. You can carry it like a brief.
Looks like a brief, like you're a hitman or something.
To end the conversation, guys, I just have a couple of last questions. What's the future of automotive performance as you see it?
I think a big one for us is going to be direct injection. A lot of the cars that we've been working on lately are evolving to that, and the aftermarket hasn't really caught up yet. The cool thing about car guys in general is we will find a fucking way. No matter, whatever it may be, it's simple, complex, whatever, somebody's going to figure it out, and somebody's going to make them fast, and we're eventually going to get to the point that tuning a 1,000 horsepower direct injector car isn't going to be a problem. But 5 years ago, I mean, if you had said that same thing about a 7-second GTR or a 1,000 horsepower Evo or something like that, I mean, guys say the same thing, but it'll catch up. We'll get there and we'll make something work.
It's true, we will. No matter what, it'll get figured out.
Right.
So how do we connect with you guys and your company, TPG Tuning?
We'll stop by the fucking shop.
That's the way to do it.
Come here, call the shop phone. We're on Facebook all the time. By any means necessary. If you want to talk to us, I mean, it's easy to.
You can always go on the website. There's a contact section on there, or you can type an email to us. It comes directly to me and Nate. So,
like I said, I mean, we're here every day. This is our fucking job. So, if you call the shop and you ask for one of us, then we're gonna be here.
Somebody's gonna be here. We're here 6 days a week, so it's pretty tough not to get a hold of us.
Well, guys, I want to say thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day. I know you guys have a business to run, and thanks for sharing your story.
No problem, man. This has been an awesome experience for us too. We're honored to be a part of it. You look at some of the other big name guys you've had, and it's humbling to to think that we're up there with somebody like that or even close to them. So we appreciate that a lot, and what you're doing to help better the whole industry is badass.
Yeah, this is definitely huge for the industry.
Appreciate it, guys. So hey, you can connect with Nate Silveri and Jason Slater at their website, tpgtuning.com, and on Facebook, and we'll have some information about them as well on doitforaliving.net. Until next time. Thanks for listening to Do It For A Living. You can find out more about this guest, this show, and even details about what we just talked about at our website, doitforaliving.net. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/doitforaliving and tell us who you want to hear from. And most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. Click subscribe. Do it now. Seriously. I'll wait while you grab your phone. Open up the podcast app. Tap the subscribe button. When you subscribe, you help us gain momentum and attract more high-level guests. Thanks for listening, and good luck.